Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Marvel Comics figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at Venom. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Marvel Comics content goes live. The whole idea behind this comic book version of Venom is take the movie Venom mold and slap a spider symbol on it. A lot of people were waiting for Sony to do that in the movies, and then Hot Toys would give us a figure of it, but that never happened. We got 3 Venom films without the spider symbol on his chest. So Hot Toys said, screw it, we'll do it ourselves, and that's what this is. As for the box art, chrome Venom logo up top. The front of the box actually looks like a comic book cover. I'm so here for that. Comic book panels in the background, and a couple of images of Venom. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, not much to look at. We've got more comic book panels in the background, then his name, this time in white, not chrome. I like what they've done with the panels. It's not just from one Venom book. We've got different eras of Venom represented in this collage of sorts. Like there's McFarlane Venom, for example. Big spider logo through the middle with warnings and legal information on top of it. As soon as you open the box, you're greeted by this mini slipcover of sorts, just with some extra artwork on it, a couple of shots of the figure himself. First in-hand impressions for Hot Toys comic book Venom. So far so good, but as I suspected, this is literally the Hot Toys movie Venom mold with a spider symbol on the chest, a new head sculpt, and a different paint job. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, visually speaking, this is such an impressive base. It's a big base for a big figure. There's so much going on. We've got all of the symbiote goo surrounding this center platform, which is nice and flat, by the way. Heaps of room to pose Venom on it. The cracks with the gloss black paint in there, making it look like the symbiote is just crawling around underneath the ground. Venom comic version, chrome text on a black background for the nameplate. I like the Venom text, just not comic version. I wish they'd only printed Venom for the nameplate. There's metallic blue and dark blue shading on the symbiote bits. It might not be coming across super well on camera. It's a lot more obvious in person. There's also this yellowish shading and some darker maroon shading on the ground with a lighter grey dry brush over the top. It's not just one tone, so that also adds visual interest. The main complaint I have with this base is, why is the flight pole off center? That now means the crotch grabber is off center. Not enough to ruin this base for me, but still, I kind of wish they'd have moved the port to the middle of the base instead of where they put it. These are all reused from the Tom Hardy Venom figures. They attach in the exact same way as they did with those releases. They plug into his back. They're wired, you can move them around. I like the way they look, except for the fact that the mini Venom heads don't have any eyes on them. I wonder why they made that choice. If you know if this is a comic book thing, not having the eyes on the mini Venom heads on the Tendrils, just tell me down in the comments. 2 different Venom head sculpts, one with the creepy McFarlane style grin and the other with the mouth open, and 3 magnetic interchangeable tongues. I will be trying out all of the different options on Venom once we take a look at the figure himself, but for right now, kinda leaning towards this look. Okay, this is a first. Interchangeable Venom feet. We've got feet with toes sticking out and feet without. I like the look of these better, but we will try out both options. Then some hands. Not many, just closed fists and some other ones. But the detail is good. They look like reuse to me, except for the sculpted, yes, they're sculpted panels on the back of the hands for what would be the web shooters. They're done in white with this brown wash over the top in the crevices. My favorite set of hands, the claws. How can you not display Venom with these ones on? What we're going to do now is get Venom himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. They knew what they were doing. As soon as they made this mold for a 1/6 scale Venom, this had to have been on the cards. Because the only thing missing from this design, the spider symbol and the white rectangles on the back of his hands. When you add them, surprise, surprise, this turns into one of the best looking Venom designs of all time, in my opinion. How big and muscular he is, but he slims down for his legs, then the head sculpt is now comic inspired. There is so much going on here, but it's a mix of classic and modern at the same time. Everything works. I can't really point to one thing and say, oh, well, most of the stuff is good except for this. No. If you want the best 1/6 scale Venom currently on the market, I think you're looking at it. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Venom's first head sculpt. The first of two, we'll try out the tongue one in a second, but I'm tempted to maybe every now and then rock him with this sculpt. The sinister smirk, all of these gross looking teeth, the gums, the washes over the top, the off-white eyes with this pearlescent finish to them, how they curve up and around for the top, the triangular nose area, so McFarlane-esque. It's a little bit of a larger head sculpt versus the Tom Hardy Venom ones, so it suits the proportions of this body better, in my opinion. I always thought that the body was far too big for the size of head that those figures came with. Not a knock against Hot Toys, that is accurate to the design of Venom in the movies. Oh, now this head sculpt is what I'm talking about. We've got the tongue. We've got the two big fangs up front. The jagged teeth at the bottom that flare out. All of this grossness inside the mouth. And the tongue matches that with its grossness. It looks wet and glossy. This one curves off to his right. Then we've got the second tongue that sticks out forward. It requires more depth, but I don't mind the way that looks. Could potentially be my favorite, or this one, how it curves back and it has this real dynamic flick to it. Let me know down in the comments which tongue you prefer. Yeah, I don't think I've ever said that in a review before, but the head sculpts being magnetic, they're foam backed, so there's some extra grip on the inside of them. They will stick in place no matter where you leave them because of that foam on the inside of the sculpts. That's something that the video game Venom struggled with. His head sculpt tends to droop down just because that extra foam piece was nowhere near grippy enough. Ooh, they're pretty rough. Seeing the seams around the cap covers, hiding the ports that the tendrils plug into, I would have rather no tendrils, honestly, for a cleaner look for Venom. The white spider symbol is glorious. Around the back it was good, around the front even better. The shape of it perfectly suits this design for Venom, and now it's even more of a head scratcher as to why we didn't get this symbol in at least the third movie. He knew of Spider-Man, for crying out loud. This should have happened. In 1/6 scale, the symbol is connected to the back symbol by the spider legs under the armpits. That's the way it should be. The little spikes up top, the spikes down below. And it's not like they've just spray painted a symbol over movie Venom. This is an entirely new sculpted torso because the spider symbols front and back are raised on the surface. Even though the torso is new, there's a lot borrowed from movie Venom. The frame underneath the rubbery skin on the outside that feels kind of slick and gross, very authentic for Venom. The vein work that's absolutely everywhere. It's not painted, with comic book Venom, but the sculpt for the veins, they're all still present. The mottled looking skin texture, Venom's belly button, even the feet, the standard ones with the toes out, all copied from that Tom Hardy Venom. But how are the seams? You can see them for the arms and down here for the legs. There's overlapping of some of these rubber pieces, so they're kind of hidden, and from a distance, the shadows fall in those crevices, blending the two black pieces together. We've got the vein work and the mottled skin texture. They've tried their best to make them as invisible as possible. There's no two ways around it. We've got seams for the arms and the legs. You're just going to have to work with them when it comes to posing. The white rectangles on his hands make a bigger difference than I was expecting. They tie the look together with the bright white eyes and also the new white spider symbol. Coming down to the legs, they're suitably chonky, but they're exactly the same as Tom Hardy's movie Venom. One thing that they've done specific to this comic book one is, for all of the high spots, for the muscle groups, they've added this metallic blue shading. Now, in the comics, sometimes Venom had blue shading, sometimes purple, sometimes red and blue if we're talking animated series. Going with metallic blue, I think, was the right call for this specific design for Venom. But then again, you'll know me. If they release a purple shading variant of this Venom, I will be more than happy to pick that one up and to compare it back to this. Just watch out for the elbows and knees, the seamless rubbery skin over the top of the plastic body, because if you put a lot of pressure on this outer layer, you might end up cracking it. I've not seen anyone do that, but then again, I would still caution you to be careful. Alright, time to switch out the feet. Pretty easy to remove them, to plug the new ones in, not as much. Just pull them back and they'll pop right off. Oh, so much better. You can still see some definition for his toes, but they're nowhere near as gross looking as these feet. Okay, one more thing for us to try out. Let's install the tendrils, then we can move on. Yeah, maybe. It is very busy now with all of the extra faces and these things. Not something I'm a huge fan of. At least now you know what it looks like. These spiky bits are pressing right into his back. If you're not careful, they'll either fuse to the surface of the rubbery skin or they'll chip away at the white paint on the spider symbol. Okay, I've ditched the tendrils now. The cap cover pieces, they were a pain in the ass to remove. Grab yourself some tweezers, wedge them underneath the areas where you think it's safest, then you can pop them out. Using your fingernails, it will take you ages. I know for a fact because that's what I did. And next time I want to take those cap pieces out, I'll be using a tool. There's one more thing, actually, that I want to try out before we can properly move on. Step 1 is to pop the creepy open toe feet back on the body. Alright, step 2, now that he's prepared for this, is to remove the comic book head sculpt and install the movie Venom sculpt. It's a darker black versus the comic book body, and we don't have the blue shading, but holy shit does this look good. It's a lot smaller as well, compared to the comic book Venom head. This one, I strongly believe, fits in proportion with the body better. But if you're going for that movie Venom look, just with the symbol, this, yeah, it can work. Now I'm not sure, do I rock him like this with the comic head, or do I go with the movie one? For a quick side-by-side comparison, I tell you what, Hot Toys does a decent job of making two figures that are based on the same mold look completely different, standing next to each other. Comic book Venom is actually a little bit taller. That's just because of the larger head sculpt. At the shoulders, they're the exact same height. The endoskeletons are the same. Most of the skin pieces are the same. The feet, with the toes out, they're the same. But next to each other, if I had to pick between them, in a perfect world, I'd blend them, the movie head sculpt on the comic book body. But if I couldn't do that, I'd be going with the figure on the left, just because of that iconic spider symbol and those big, bright white eyes. I forgot how tall Movie Carnage is. I had to adjust the camera for this shot. He towers over comic book Venom. In the books, Carnage is smaller and slinkier than Venom, so this isn't comic book accurate. If you don't care about that, you want this towering beast of a Carnage to pose up next to your comic book Venom, this is what that looks like. Had to adjust the camera again because I forgot. Video game Venom is the size of a small skyscraper. Next to comic book Venom, a lot of people asked me when comic book Venom was announced, which one should they get? If you've got infinite height space in your display, nothing beats the presence of Spider-Man 2 Venom. If you don't, most people probably don't, get comic book Venom. You still get multiple head sculpts, you still get the tendrils, it has a lot of presence, it is not a small piece, but it's so much easier to work with. See what I mean? He still towers over a regular 1/6 scale figure. This is classic suit Spidey. The vibrant colors, the classic suit, next to the metallic blue shading on comic book Venom, these two, they work so well together. Going over articulation, if you've already got Tom Hardy Venom, then you know what to expect here. Starting off with his head sculpt, ratchet joint at the base of the neck, giving you 1, 2, 3 clicks forward. Then the head itself is on a magnet, looking all the way forward to there, pretty much unlimited range, thanks to that magnet. Looking up to there, swivel, and tons of pivot side to side. Arms can be extended at the shoulders. I suggest you do that before you move the arms around. Create that gap, because the last thing you want is friction with this piece rubbing up against the top of the arm, causing paint rub or damage. Going up on ratchets to there, forward and back on a friction joint, then butterfly at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Ratcheted swivel at the bicep underneath this rubbery flesh, double bend at the elbow, also on ratchets going past 90. Then for the wrist peg, it's a double ball joint. Seamless torso, crunching forward to there and springing back thanks to the rubbery overlay, but going back to there, not as far as forward. Swivel and a ratcheted pivot side to side. Legs drop down at the hips on a single ratchet, going forward to there. They also go out at the same time, going out to there, swivel at the hip joint, and a ratcheted swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee on ratchets, getting you to 90. And then double ball pegs for the ankles, good for forward and back, rotation, as well as some ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is Hot Toys. Y'all forgot to paint the eyes on these mini Venom heads. They look all kinds of wrong without them. They really needed to be there, in my opinion. The second annoying thing is not the look of this base. Visually speaking, I adore it with the symbiote goo and then the symbiote in the cracks on the ground. But there's problems. First of all, the nameplate that says Venom comic version, why doesn't it just say Venom? And the crotch grabber arm. It should have been in the middle. Having it off center like that simply doesn't make sense. There is no reason why it couldn't have been right there. If you don't count the secondary head sculpt, its tongues, and the tendrils, then you don't really get much with Venom. Just one set of extra hands and one set of extra feet. That's it. The first cool thing is there is a benefit to them reusing the movie Venom mold for this comic book version. You can now pop any of the Tom Hardy Venom head sculpts on this body. They are 100% compatible, and they look great here. I'm considering using this as my movie Venom in the collection because, honestly, this is all I ever wanted to see on the big screen. The second cool thing, I know I just complained about the lack of accessories a second ago, but the ones that are here are very well considered, except for the tendrils with the lack of eyes on those mini Venom heads. The switch out feet. Being able to ditch the creepy exposed Venom toes for these more comic inspired ones, my Venom is always going to be wearing these. The third cool thing, I'm not sure how obvious it is on camera, you can see it right there actually. The metallic blue shading on the high spots for the muscle groups. It could have gone horribly wrong, but it didn't. It works. It looks sensational in person. It highlights his physique, it gives him a little bit of added oomph, and when light bounces off the surface, he absolutely pops. Wrapping up on comic book Venom, get this. If you've got the movie one, sell it. If you've got the video game one, if you've got space for it, then keep it. But also get this. It is now my favorite 1/6 scale Venom. Who would have thought that the Sony Venom design with the comic book head sculpt and the spider symbol and the white rectangles on the back of his hands, that is what we needed. Pretty much everyone, except for Sony. Hot Toys did it and they delivered the goods. I'm not a huge fan of the Tendrils, but you don't have to use them. And the ports, they're on the back anyway, so not too big of an eyesore. This figure has so much going for it. I don't think you should skip it. If you're a Spidey fan, if you're a Venom fan, you don't want to miss this chance because likely this will be the only Hot Toys comic book Venom ever. They might do a purple shading version. I could see them doing that as some kind of Toy Fair exclusive, but then being an exclusive, it will be extremely hard to get. Pick up this Venom, you will not regret it. It is so freaking good. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.